2021. I'm being joined by the President of the Trade Union Congress, Mr. Festus Osifo. Today is the first day of the NLC two-day warning strike. But is the Trade Union Congress part of it? The NLC last week has announced that it will embark on two-day warning strike to rein home on the federal government. They need to move in the direction of the negotiation over the aftershocks of the removal of fuel subsidy. Let's speak with the TUC President, Comrade Festus Osifo. Thank you so much, Comrade, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Shehu. Good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you so much. Is the TUC part of the warning strike?
No. We had our National Executive Council meeting on Sunday. So at the end of the meeting, from the TUC angle, we deliberated on it. In fact, first of all, before the NEC meeting, we had a NAC meeting. So NAC is the National Administrative Council meeting. So we had discussions around that. Then we now had to move it to the NEC. So what we agreed on, the communique has since come out since yesterday. So we had all the issues spelled out, but we said that we should continuously engage government. Because one thing that we also observed, and one thing that we have been doing over time, is that after each meeting, so as TUC, what we normally do is that we continue engagement even beyond the eyes of the camera. So if you recall, the last formal meeting we had, so after that meeting, government announced the issue of the 5 billion naira to be given to the state, that today they have released 2 billion. First of all, we said that the sum was quite small. In fact, they consulted us. We had some discussions around that. We queried that sum, and we also queried the vehicle that should be used.
So it's not as if you're not aware of the disbursement of that money?
Yes, were you
aware?
Yes, of course. They told us that this is what they want to do, and this is the channel they want to use. You remember, when they wanted to do the conditional, use the social register, we kicked against it. We said, no, you cannot use that register because we clearly don't know the people that are in that register. So for us, we now pushed that, okay, anything you want to do, you must have a means that is transparent. So then I came and said, okay, the best thing that they have discovered for now is that they should push it through the state. We also queried, we queried two things. Number one, you remember all the monies that have been pushed to the state before now, that at the end of the day, most of these interventions, like the COVID intervention, we did not know how it was spent. So we asked, how will these be monitored? So they told us that they were going to set up a national monitoring team on this. In fact, initially, the sum they were contemplating was even smaller than this. But we told them that that will not go anywhere. Even the 5 billion, we also, our position has also been that it's not far-reaching enough. But one thing we have been trying to do behind the cameras and behind the scene, because for us, it's not sufficient for us to just issue letter to government and we just go to meetings that you have press, then at the end of the day, we go, we shy away. No, what Nigeria wants is solutions, what Nigeria wants is results. So that was why, even within this period, we have been engaging the management of NNPC. If you remember, few weeks down the line, few weeks ago, they announced the relationship between the MOU that was signed between NNPC and NIPCO. TUC played a very strong push on that, a very strong role on that to ensure that that was done. The reason was this. If you remember, Shehu, I was in your program here at the time, and we were talking about CNG. So, and we're talking about conversion kits. There is no way you could have conversion kits. There is no way you could place conversion kits on vehicles without the enabling infrastructure. So that MOU that they signed was to provide some level of infrastructure. For us, we also told them that what you have done is like scratching the surface, that you still need to do more. So conclusively, and coming back to your question again, for us in TUC, we are in industrial relations, we have a toolbox. And in the toolbox, there are consultations, there are dialogue, there are push, there are confrontations. So any of these that is being used, the major thing is the end game. So for us in TUC and our counterpart in NLC, it is about Nigerians. It's about the end game.
So you are not part of this warning strike?
No.
You did not agree on the warning strike?
No,
It was NLC did this on their own.
First of all, there wasn't a conversation between us on the best direction to go. There wasn't a conversation. So we heard it in the media that NLC has declared a 2 days warning strike.
So they didn't carry
we're already planning to have our next meeting. You know, we are independent trade centers as well. So they don't have the obligation that they must carry us along. Same, we don't also have that obligation. But for the sake of Nigerians, we try to synergize and we try to work together. So for me, I think that the path they have taken, it's a good one. It's very okay. I mean, it's all about the interests of Nigerians. But for us, we felt that in the last 1 month, some of the things that you have been seeing in the media that government has been pushing out has been as a result of the push that TUC have been making behind the scene. Are those things enough? The answer is no. Are they far-reaching? The answer is no. Do we have a lot of jobs to do? Things about, like today, Sheung, you know, what has been given to the state? Can you account? Can they account for it? So that was why in our next meeting, when we extrailed all this, we felt that the fact that we have been pushing government behind the scene and they have been acting, but I bet not that fast, we would push them further and we will push them. I mean, so the NEC mandated the national leadership to continue that push behind the scene. Like, for example, one of the resolutions we reached was that we are going to set up a task force across the 6 geopolitical zones that will be made up of the national officers who are going to work with the state council to be sure the palliatives we are talking about today is not sufficient. But even as abysmal as it is, are they getting to the right people? Are they getting to the right people?
So you will monitor?
Yes, we are setting up that task force across the 6 geopolitical zones to monitor the disbursement. While we are still pushing government to do more.
So what would you do if you discover any discrepancy?
Yeah, any state that we discover that it's not getting to the people, you know, we have state executives all around. We are going to picket such states. We will picket them and we will get them to do what is right. Well, because it's not sufficient for you to collect this from federal government, even when we are shouting that this is not sufficient for the people, and you will divert some of them. So we have the instrument and we have the resources to be able to do that monitoring to be sure that it gets to the people.
There was an engagement with the Ministry of Labor,
yes,
because the minister had a press conference yesterday, and there is a communication from the Ministry of Labor that there seems to be a 2-week timeline given between the Labor and the Ministry of Labor and the federal government. What is this about?
Yes, you know, yesterday, I mean, we were invited yesterday, you know, we got a letter that because as a fallout of a NEC of NLC and the fallout of the NEC of TUC, that they saw it in the media and that they are inviting us. So when that happened, so we went there, we had a conversation with the minister and the Minister of State, as well as the permanent, the directors in the ministry. So from the TUC's NEC, so one of the fallout was that let us press government for additional 1 week. Why, if you remember, there was also an issue we had in Lagos, the issue of Ritian. Ritian is an affiliate of TUC, while NURTW is an affiliate of NLC. So we had an issue in Lagos where the Lagos state government shut down the operations of these 2 trade unions. So for us, we didn't find it funny. So we issued a 2-week ultimatum from TUC that if Lagos state government refused to do the needful, because there's also a judgment from the National Industrial Court that if they don't do the needful, that by the end of 14 days, that we are going to shut down Lagos State. So that was what came out from the TUC's meeting. Then part of that as well was also that in 7 days, let's press government to bring about to improve on what they are currently doing, to move into the issues related to CNG, to move into the issues relating to even tax exemptions. Because we were told in one of our meetings that they are going to give tax holidays to people around the minimum wage, both from private and the public sector. But today, we have not seen the implementation of that. Then we looked at all these in our NEC meeting. If you remember, Sheung, states have been making announcements on what they are going to do for the state workers. We have not heard anything at all for the federal workers, because majority of our members, from grade level when you enter the ministry, to the directors across the federal and all states, they are members of Association of Senior Civil Servants, that is an affiliate of TUC. So it affects us directly as well. So all these, we were pushing for 1 week to get them done. But the minister now appealed to us that they are going to present a memo to council, and that the Federal Executive Council will not meet this week because the president is not around, but that he's going to work behind the scene and to ensure that in the next FEC meeting, which will most likely be next week, that he will present that memo and that they will have some announcement to make. So he now appealed that we should give them 2 weeks for these issues to be resolved.
Right.
So when we looked at it, we felt, okay, we can also
So
go
you have an agreement. 2 weeks, that's what you are giving the federal government.
Yes, correct.
Do you think that they are listening?
From what the minister said, this is the first time we are meeting with the minister. And in our style, we give the benefit of doubt. This is the first time we are meeting with Right Honorable Simon Lalong and the Minister of State, Ministry of Labor and Employment. So they told us that we should give them 2 weeks, that they will get back to us. So we have acceded to that. Let's wait for the next 2 weeks and see what happens. If not, we take it to the next level.
President, what is happening in Port Harcourt about Ajip and Ando? You are threatening Pengassan. And interesting that you have 2 hats that you are wearing. You are also the president of Pengassan.
Yeah, correct.
That you are withdrawing your workers from these organizations. Why?
Yes, we've already done. The withdrawal has already been done. I think the news in the media is a bit belated, because what happened was that we just heard yesterday that Oando is buying 100% stake in OML 60, 61, 62, and 63. That they are buying the stake. But now, when you are doing that, what of the workers? We have about 3,000 workforce in that establishment. What they have done, I was quite happy when I listened to your earlier guest, the Minister of Interior, when he was talking about the issue relating to expatriate quota. Expatriate quota, one of the areas that they have abused expatriate quota today is the oil and gas. But we have been standing up to them, and we have been sending a lot of them back. So now, what Ajip did was that they were quickly relocating their expatriates over the weekend. Then on Monday, they made the announcement without recourse to the employees who are our members. We have over 3,000 members of Pengassan in Ajip. So it was a spontaneous reaction that came from the branch as of yesterday. So all we are saying is that both now, Oando, they must come to negotiation table and tell us what they are going to do with our members.
All right, because the fear is that in all of this, the interest and the plight of the poor needs to be considered.
Absolutely.
And no things that will cause further pain to the Nigerian poor.
Absolutely.
Should be. And you worried, just a final one in 30 seconds, the political inference is being drawn in all of these. There are now political parties who will say some of these actions are politically instigated.
Yeah, so those were some of the reasons we from TUC were also trying to look at it, look at the broader picture. Because as of last week, we had some inkling that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal will be delivering judgment within this week or maximum next week. So we also factor that into the calculations that we did. Because for us, we must have a country first before we can push for any issue.
President of the Trade Union Congress, Comrade Festus Osifo, thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you so much.
And I wish you the very best.
Thank you for
as you fight for the interests of the Nigerian people and push government to do the right thing. The media will support and be behind you also.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.